Hi everybody. It's around 3:33 p.m. on a Thursday, and this is the time. Welcome. I'm Victoria, your modern Renaissance woman, and this is how I view time. I'm back from Palm Springs, and it definitely is... Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out how loud I can be and how close I can be to the mic. I know it's like around 6 inches, but I am still kind of playing with like what that really means, you know? So anyway, I just got back from Palm Springs, and this was another experience in the books for sure. So as life like often goes, a bunch of last minute things came up and threw my entire itinerary for a total revamp basically. So a lot of what I had originally planned for the retreat has now been backlogged as like potential vendors for future events. But that doesn't totally mean the experience was like subpar. I mean, I got to stay on a private estate in Coachella Valley that looked like over the most gorgeous view of the mountains. And like the way the landscape is down there is so unique. Like in the way that the sun was peeking over each mountaintop, and I mean each because they were multiple heights on these little dudes and like these mountains. And it left such an ethereal look to it all. And it was like with all of these vibrant colors, it was just like a visual chef kiss. All right. This has only been my second retreat I've helped plan and host, and my third in-person event I've overall done within like the last year and a half. So I'm incredibly lucky to have the growing relationship I do have with my clients. And of course, getting to know my clients is always such a treat in itself, because usually I'm just like the person behind all of the emails. If you know, you know. I'm going to release my official lessons learned report for this trip and my profile link that's located on my Instagram, which is at the Guiding Fox. So you guys can view more detailed scope of what went on into planning the retreat. But today I want to continue our conversation of that perfectionism and indecision. I know I briefly touched on it last time we connected, and I just, as I grow older, I think that I've found certain techniques have really helped me direct my focus in a way where I'm no longer paralyzed by these emotions, perfectionism and indecision. At least most often than not, I'm certainly not perfect. So I'm not saying this process can't be gone through with someone who is younger than me and I'm like just shy of 29. I've just realized that there are so many more distractions now as an adult, mostly in the form of responsibility or obligations. And though we can't really get totally away from those things, like cleaning the dishes or putting away the laundry, I'd like to think that there are tactics we can use to sort out the mental and physical loads. That way, when we look back at our lives, there are definitive milestones, and not only that, but the ones that we are proud of. And how does that whole thing really tie into the perfectionism and indecision? Well, we're going to kind of be sorting out those feelings today. And let me start off by saying, during the day, my mind, I feel like, is constantly pulling in thoughts from this like nether. And my current mental goal is to see these thoughts as something fleeting, and I get to choose whether or not I accept them into my reality. And okay, this is like no small feat, friends. I am no stranger to depression and anxiety. And so decoding your thoughts into categories of helpful versus unhelpful, not good or bad, takes a lot of self-love. And if there's like anything that you can take from this entire process, seriously, is just like, I implore you to look into counseling, because the reassurance and the guidance and the validation that you can get from that is nothing compared to anything that I'll give you in this podcast, just because they are so much better equipped to handle these huge moves through your life when you're like changing an entire mindset. But I still think that this is a great like feature to add on to the skills that they would give you in therapy. Anywho, mama bear aside, there is a positive part to having these fleeting thoughts. And that is a lot of those come in a form of an idea, concepts, questions. I mean, I've honestly always had a curious mind, sometimes to a fault. What I like to do with all of these, though, like all of these thoughts that I have, is keep a note tab, whether it's on my phone or even better, like make a note app widget on your phone screen for easy access. I personally feel like during this time when I'm trying to decipher what I want and don't want to accept as a thought, I can only accurately do so if I become more aware of what exactly is going on in my noggin in that moment. That has me unsatisfied with my present moment. Once I do that, only then can I see a bird's eye view of, say a mental map of what's going on. And then I can choose whether or not these thoughts are adding or taking away from my happiness. And thus, that is helpful versus unhelpful. Now, before you panic and think that the secret sauce alone is just jotting down your weird shower thoughts and then taking a peek at how to see whether that's taking up your time in a helpful way or not, sit tight, because this, like I said, is a process, and I think that it can be incredibly compelling to see this thing through. These fleeting thoughts and ideas will be a big factor in how we prioritize our time, and so we can stop feeling like we're running out of it. So, let's say you don't have a Curious George type of note tab already open. That is totally okay. We're going to come back to this later, though, for now, and we're going to skip to the physical load. Oh my god. Okay. Hopefully I did that right. So yeah, the physical load is your next step or your first step. One way or another, though, this process is going to require you to pull up a blank note page and pen and paper, whether that's on your phone or a physical. I'd love for you to just either tag along with this in real time or jot it down these steps for later when you have your next me time is a great opportunity. So step 1 is writing down your physical responsibilities, to-dos, what have you. This is going to be your vacuuming, caring for your pets, grocery pickup and shopping. Maybe it's the doctor's appointment you still need to make. Heary. Write all that shit down, okay? For this next step, we're going to make room in whatever medium you're using to jot down your physical pile for this second list. Because now we're going to go back to going back to the mental load. So, remembering back a couple minutes ago when we were talking about those weird shower thoughts, fun ideas, intriguing questions, we're going to start jotting down those things on this list. This is your mental load list. We're also going to be writing down any thoughts like, I'm curious about starting a gym membership again. I want to learn how to speak Spanish. Even if all you write down at the end is, what the fuck am I doing? That's still valid, and we are here for you, okay? If you're having trouble separating the physical and mental piles, here's how I kind of break it down. The physical load equals your where and your whens. This is where, these have gone from your mental state into reality. We usually have a sense of operations behind these. You usually know when and where these physical things will take place. Your mental load equals your what and your whys. These are still only concepts, dreams, something that hasn't touched the earth side, if you will. So these are thoughts that are not going to be linked yet to actions. All right. So we have your physical load, the shit we like doing, the shit we don't necessarily favor doing. We have our mental load, either thoughts surrounded by fear or by possibilities, and we're going to do some metaphorical laundry, if you will, so let's start sorting. It's totally okay if your pages are long, by the way, because I know some people it's going to take you a couple minutes, some people it's only going to take you a sec. We're not here to judge people's laundry, we all have to wash laundry whether we like to or not. So Just like a pile of laundry, though, it's going to be easier to see what your options are once everything is folded. What we're going to be doing with this kind of laundry is following a 3-step rule. All right, 1. Is there time restraint with this task or thought? 2. How long does this take me? Like, how long do I think it will take me if I don't know? Especially if it's just a thought in your head and you haven't like brought it back down to reality yet, you know? 3. Use a scale between 1 and 5 of how important this thing is to you. So, and we're going to use my list as an example. So one of them is cleaning the house, for instance, is one of the things I wrote down for a physical part of my load. It doesn't really have a specific timeline on when it needs to be done, but I do like doing it at least once a week because your girl hates crunchy carpets, long live area rugs, and hardwood floors. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't deal with crunchy carpet. No. We grew up one time. Well, I grew up, but at one time we lived in a house that had carpet in the kitchen throughout like the living room, dining room. It was just like everywhere. Carpet everywhere. I think that scared me. So anyway, that is obviously something that, as you can see, is going to be at the top of the 1 to 5 scale on how important it is to me, because I just prefer to have a clean house. But don't worry, I did not skip over 2, which is how long does this take me, or how long do I think it would take me? We live in an apartment, my husband and I, and it probably only takes me about 1 hour, maybe hour and a half, not including laundry, like actual legit laundry, not like this one we're doing right now. That's not to say it probably takes me longer because I do get distracted. I like doing little projects, sorpresa. But yeah, so we're going to say, as far as this one it goes, no specific timeline, at least once a week, hour and a half once a week. And I would say out of a 1 to 5, this would be a 4. Hits me out of 4. I just prefer to have a cleaner home. Okay, on the other hand, I have taxes. So taxes have to be done no later than what I say, April 1st. And then number 2, it took me way too long, like mentally, last year to do my own taxes through TurboTax. Because, I'm sorry, the 1040 forms are just so hard to understand. So you guessed it. That's a number 5 for me on the scale of 1 to 5, how important this is to you. Because I think importance almost probably is replaced with anxiety, because just taxes are just so stressful. So P.S., if you have a CPA that you like, hit a girl up with their contact info. Okay, going back, with these 3 rules, I want you to go through your list and write out your answers next to them. So you're going to have the thought or action in one column. And then the next column will be the time restraint or like deadline. The next column after that is going to be your time frame, like, or time length, the duration, if I can find the right word. And then the last one would be your 1 to 5 scale of importance. With these 3 rules, I want you to go through your list and write out your answers next to them. And then once you're through, we're down to the last bit of sorting, which is prioritizing what load to put in first. I want you to first highlight the items. So yeah, grab a highlighter if you're writing this down on pen and paper, or figure out how to highlight within the app that you're using. And I want you to go through and highlight the items that have time restraint within the next 30 days or less on each list. And once you're done doing that, I want you to go through and count up how many things that you just highlighted on each list. Now, if that counts up to 10 for each area, then congratulations. But if you have less than 10 items on each list after you've done the first step, go ahead and repeat the same process, but for 60 days, and then 90 days, and so on. You'll repeat this process until you have the 10 items on each of your lists. And okay, once we're here, you're probably like, these will be the areas we focus on for the next 3 months. We already know that 1 month the 30-day or less items are going to be our main priority, because those are like, oh my goodness, within the next like 3 weeks, essentially, you're going to have to get these done. Which if it's all the 10 items on your list, then by next month, you're going to be able to look back at your physical and mental list, load, what have you, and grab more pieces to start a new load. That's already 20 things from your big list of obstacles and possibilities that you've accomplished. For me, that feels like a big ass win. Now, I'm going to go back to my metaphor that I've been using this entire episode and say that when we have a huge pile of laundry, it seems reasonable to think that if I just get as much done as fast as I can, that equals less time I have to spend on it at all, and then the faster I get to my desired result. But that often can lead to disaster if you don't know. By organizing and prioritizing our piles, that's not saying the denims are more or less important than the brights pile. And if all the clothes from one pile of, doesn't fit in one load, we're not just going to throw the rest of the clothes out. We're just going to wait until we can add them to a new load. Like, they all get washed and dried the same, and if you don't get to a pile even on the same day or same week, it eventually will be tended to. Let's push it even further. Let's say you never wear some clothes again. What do? Besides still hopefully washing the clothes, is we donate and we sell the ones we no longer want and need. Think of these mental and physical lists the same way. Now that I've categorized my thoughts into 2 piles, I'm able to visualize what needs to be done first, what can wait, what needs more TLC, you know what I mean? We need to take turns on what we tend to so we don't explode. Because what's worse than dirty clothes is like a mid-wash, drenched clothing because your washer broke from overload. Maybe I'm speaking from experience, who knows? This tactic in particular means a lot to me because we are all here for a limited amount of time, a blip on the timeline in our entire existence as humans. I don't think it makes our goals and our dreams less important, but rather more so. Within the limits of time, it gives us the opportunity of becoming resourceful, and in that, having the opportunity of experiencing all that life has to offer you. Have all the things in my list happen? No. But I can say that I have been able to change my perspective of time and how our importance that lies within it is vital. And I feel that as someone who has multiple passions, endlessly curious, just wants to experience the world at large, this helps me ground my reality a bit and not go insane. I really hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today. I want to end these podcasts maybe with some of these fun shower thoughts that I talked about earlier. I'd love to hear your input. It's a lot more fun than just looking this shit up. So I've been saving these questions for you. And who knows, maybe I'll look up the answer after this airs, but only after, okay? Be cool. Help me out. I want to answer these weird thoughts with you. So, how do trees ration their resources, water, during heat waves? If you know the answer or have an inkling of one, I'd love for you to let me know either by DMing me on Instagram at @theguidingfox or leave a comment on this episode in particular. Okay, sending love to you guys, and until next time.